What's up, guys? It's Drew. We're back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about the Detroit Pistons because they actually got an impressive win on the season, and they're 3-5. So we got to talk about the improvements this team has made because I'm just really happy about how well the Pistons are playing. If you guys like this video, make sure to like and subscribe. We've been getting like 5 to 8 subscribers on every video now. The growth is just bananas. I love it so much. So y'all got to keep that up because we're gonna hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So let's keep working towards that goal. The Pistons have had an interesting start to the season. They're 3-5, which is better than the Milwaukee Bucks, and that puts them like basically firmly in the Eastern Conference playoff race. There's like no good teams in the East aside from Boston and Cleveland right now. And overall, they've looked pretty okay. They've looked like an actual competent NBA roster, which is not something you could say last year. The first thing that you've got to talk about is that Cade Cunningham looks awesome. He's still refining his game. He's still figuring out where his spots are on the court, and he still needs to get to the free throw line more. This season, he's only shooting 3.5 free throws a game, and he's only making them at a 75% clip, which I think is a career low for him. And he's also just, he needs to stop making dumb turnovers. Like, he's turning the ball over way too much. But, like, on the whole, he's still a very good playmaker. He is so physical that, like, you can't really put a traditional point guard on him. He just bullies traditional guards all the time, and he can get to his spots in the mid-range. But again, he needs to draw more contact at the rim. His defense has been solid from what I've seen, and overall, he's just played very, very well for them. He's been an alpha this season. He's played like an all-star. Obviously, next to him, you got Jaden Ivey, who has also been fantastic this season. He's out of Monty Williams' jail, so he can actually fucking get minutes this season. He is attacking relentlessly downhill. He does not have the problem that Cade has where he just doesn't initiate contact. He doesn't get free throws. He gets to the line. He's shooting almost 5 free throws a game. Again, not an amazing clip, but like his shooting is definitely improving this season. He's shooting almost 40% from 3 on 5 attempts, and his stroke just looks way more comfortable. He hit a massive dagger to seal the deal against the Lakers the other night, and he has just been a wrecking crew on the offensive end, especially in transition. Like, there's no getting in front of this guy. He's so fast. If he is out in the open court, you're getting 2 points out of him. They've obviously, their offseason additions have certainly helped them, scoring the ball at least. Tim Hardaway Jr. has been good for them. He's hitting threes at a ridiculous rate. 49% on 6 attempts is definitely going to come down, but he's just given them a nice go-to guy when they need to get a bucket. Tim Hardaway doesn't do a lot for your basketball team, but if you need like 13 to 15 points a game, and that's sort of something this team desperately needed to take pressure off Cade and to take pressure off Jaden Ivey, this is the sort of addition that they were looking for, and I think he's been very good for them. Tobias Harris is still stealing money from the government. He's shooting 18% from 3, and he's still getting paid like $30 million a year. I don't know how his agent keeps doing this. That guy needs to be in the Hall of Fame. But Tobias Harris needs to he needs to up his scoring because 13 a game for the amount of money they're paying him is just not cutting it. He's been good in stints, but like he's just not scoring at a high enough volume, and he just hasn't been that great. Then Malik Beasley has also been weird for them. He's shooting a ton of threes and he's making them at an okay clip, but he's also shooting 31% on his twos. Like, if this guy gets within the three-point line, he becomes significantly less efficient, and that's a problem, but that'll probably smooth out. It's just, you know, one of those early season kinks. Just like Tim Hardaway shooting way too well from 3, you know, Malik Beasley is shooting horribly from 2. This happens early in the season. There are also some suspect players on this team, some guys that I'm sort of questioning. I think Jaylen Duren is weird in Detroit. He's been ridiculously efficient, and he does traditional big man stuff pretty well. He rebounds at a super high rate. He is a fantastic just run, jump, and dunk big. But when you can, like, he doesn't really have a lot of finesse in his game. He fouls a lot, and he doesn't really make great defensive reads. He's sort of all over the place on the defensive side of the basketball. He doesn't really have the basketball IQ, I guess, to sort of be an amazing number 1 defensive big on their team. And thankfully, Isaiah Stewart has played pretty well for them, especially on the defensive end. So they haven't really had to rely on Jaylen Duren to like completely anchor the paint for 37 minutes a game. but still, he's going to have to make some improvements. He's going to have to add some finesse to his game. He's averaging almost 3 assists a game, which is maybe encouraging, but he has got like no sign of a jump shot, not really at least, and he's a pretty traditional, huge brick wall center. He sets like massive screens, and he has a very like surprisingly large catch radius. But I think like if I'm looking at a team with Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey as your number 1 and 2 options, 2 guys who, although they've been shooting well from 3, are not insane 3-point shooters and could use some shooting through their other positions. I think the fact that Jaylen Duren is just like stuck in this traditional center mold is sort of a problem. But, I mean, he's been okay for them. He's been ridiculously... He's leading the league in field goal percentage. Pretty soon, we might be having some uncomfortable conversations about how he fits on a legitimate NBA roster, just because, like, he isn't really suited for the modern game in a lot of ways. Then, their rookie, Ron Holland, is another player I'm sort of suspicious of, at least for now. He hasn't actually been that bad for them at all. He's shooting 6% from 3, which is not good, obviously, but it's okay. That'll probably even out and improve as the season goes on. When I watch Ron Holland, I don't know what it is about his game. There's nothing like lateral about it. It feels like when he catches the ball, he can only go in straight lines. I don't know what it is. He doesn't really look like a player who has much of a handle. His jump shot looks really funky. He's not like super physically gifted. He can do stuff in the flow of the offense. Like he can sort of find his spots sort of like incidentally, but I don't feel like there's any like intentionality to his game. He's a weird player to judge. I haven't really watched that much of him, so I couldn't really tell you how great he is, but I really think he could use some reps in the G League, just because I think he's a work in progress for sure. But I mean, you know, looking at this Pistons roster, honestly, it's not really a bad idea for them to get another wing. Obviously, Ausar Thompson is out right now, and we have no idea when he's coming back. I guess the blood clot thing is still bothering him. So I think going forward, like, Ron Holland could definitely be a part of this team's future. I could see him and Ausar maybe playing on the wings together. But I imagine between him, Ivy, and Ausar, like, it's probably going to be the case that one of those guys is either not going to be good enough to start long term, or it's just going to have to be moved to the bench, because Ausar has no jump shot right now, and Ron Holland has no jump shot right now. And Ron Holland doesn't really have the creation abilities that Ausar Thompson does. Ausar Thompson does so many little things, and he's such a good defender, and he's so ridiculously athletic. I don't really know like what Ron Holland does super well yet. So I'm kind of looking at him suspiciously. In terms of other guys on this roster, Marcus Sasser has been not playing. Marcus Sasser hasn't really played at all, which I think is a good thing. Marcus Sasser was really good for this team last year, and I really enjoyed watching him play, but it's completely unnecessary for him to get big minutes. He's still a younger guard, even though he was a multi-year player in college. I still think it would be wise to just let him chill on the bench right now and let this team actually get some wins this season and build a culture. JB Bickerstaff has done such a good job of sort of like giving this team like actual plays to run. Like they'll set like multiple pin down screens. Obviously, I don't know shit. I'm terrible with X's and O's, but you can tell that just by watching Pistons games now, there is more flow to their offense. There's a rhythm, there's a cadence. We don't have all bench lineups anymore. We're getting an actual consistent starting lineup every night, and we're getting quality minutes from guys up and down the roster. He doesn't even have to play Ron Holland. He could ride his starters way more. No one on this team is getting above 36 minutes a game. Only a couple guys are getting above 30 minutes. He could totally give some of these wings more minutes. He could probably give Simone Fontecchio a lot of Ron Holland's minutes, but he's spreading the wealth amongst his players, and this is like without Paul Reed really playing at all. This is with Ausar Thompson out. This is with Bobby Klintman out. Like, this team still has some tools that we have sort of yet to discover what their sort of purpose is on this roster. But yeah, this Pistons team just overall has looked really great. I mean, again, Cade and Jaden Ivey have been one of the most dynamic backcourts in the league. There was this big issue that they had early in their careers where Jaden Ivey was just this bull in a china shop who had like no ability to slow down. Cade Cunningham is this extremely slow, methodical player who doesn't burst to the rim with relentless aggression. He sort of takes his time and whittles down the defense to find his spots. That's sort of his game, but I think they've sort of improved their ability to play off each other, and I think the three-point shooting that both of them have unlocked has certainly helped with that. I think the Pistons are not going to be a play-in team or anything like that. They're definitely not going to keep up this blistering pace that they're on for 30-plus wins. But I think they can maybe get to like 20. They actually might get to 30. I think I could see them getting to 30 wins because like the East is clearly not as strong as we thought, and it's going to take some time for some of the actual contenders in the East to start winning basketball games again. And the Pistons are hungry, man. They go out and they fight every night. They rebound at a ridiculously high level. They're one of the better rebounding teams in the NBA right now. Their three-point shooting has improved. They still have a lot to work out on the offensive side of the basketball, and they need to get their turnovers down. Their turnovers are really a huge problem for them. Like, they just cough up the ball way too much, and in just dumb ways. Like, Cade, again, just, like, makes dumb passes. Jaden Ivey is not a great playmaker yet. They don't really have a lot of playmakers outside of those two. I guess maybe Fontecchio can move the ball around a little bit, but, like, for the most part, that's something this team is definitely lacking, and that's where I want to see a guy like Marcus Sasser actually get his thumbprints on the game, just, like, as sort of, like, a backup sort of game manager point guard, even though he's like more dynamic than that as a scorer. And then also I think having Asar Thompson back will definitely help in that regard. But on the whole, like, this Pistons team has been night and day between this year and last year. JB Bickerstaff has been great for them, and I'm really excited to see how they play for the rest of the season. But that's all I got to say about the Pistons. If y'all like this video, make sure to like and subscribe. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We're probably not going to get there, but every subscription matters so much. Every subscription helps me so much. You guys have no idea. And make sure to follow all my socials in the description and cue that music.